Rogue lost the last time they played Fnatic. It was day 3, week 1.
All eyes on these lineups to see what they will bring to the table this week.
I think we can beat any team, but I think competition is for sure way closer than it was last split.
Rogue has been playing astonishing this season, and I think most coming especially from Inspired, their youngler.
Here comes the Crow Storm!
Rogue are looking to cement themselves as the #1 in the regular season.
Schalke's Broken Blade's going to look for something, but the Crow Storm prevents the engage. Now the chase forward as Inspired manages to leap over the wall.
Bwipo, Hylissang are the guys that kill me the most. We will just reach the backline, and the backline, who is in the backline is me. They are playing crazy.
1, 2, 3,
Fnatic is a bloody team.
Fnatic looking real clean right now.
So far, we're looking pretty hot, and I'd like to carry that momentum into the playoffs for sure.
No flash. It's double TP committed. Aura gets taken out. Oh, the Viego's going to be powerful in this one. If he can keep getting resets, he's going to start to take off. But Bwipo's going to get burned down. But no, he's going to turn right back in. Hylissang on the way in. Bwipo will not die. My God, it's an absolute slaughter.
I feel like we have a deserved spot at the top. We can beat anyone in the LEC and even contest for the titles.
Hylissang straight onto Caps. Caps is gone, somehow surviving for the moment, but Hylissang almost down as well. The Requiem coming out. It's cancelled. Bwipo on the front line. Reckless, you got to open up. You got to do the main things right now. He's looking for Nisqy. There's a couple of kills. 3 against 3 once again. Reckless flashing forward. Reckless dies.
For both these teams, incredible early game dominance transitioned into a lot of very consistent wins. It's Rogue versus Fnatic. It's going to be an absolute banger.
Welcome back to the LEC studio, where this stage is set for the fight for first between Fnatic and Rogue. I am here to look specifically at Fnatic's early game and how they snowballed the top side versus G2 in a match of the week. And I'm just going to take you straight to the drawing board already, but I want you already from the get-go to notice the ward we have here in the picture. Now, this ward is going to be pivotal for the planning of Fnatic moving forward here. So whatever you do, whenever this ward disappears, still remember this, because we're going to head back on toward this point as we play out the clip. Now, we're going to move over to the opposite side of the map, where it's no longer going to be about this ward, but it's actually not going to be about Bwipo down here towards the bottom side of the map, where he is shadowing his bot lane to make sure they can gain the priority. But another thing that is pivotal to watch here is the fact that a ward has spotted Jankos. Now, remember the ward we talked about earlier as well? That ward has now run out, but you still remember it, so you don't have to worry about that as we continue out the clip here. Now, with the ward done, you can already see that a plan has started to form for Fnatic here. Now, the clip has stopped. Why has it stopped? Because I paused it. Because I want to highlight to you already now, with the TP coming through, and with Bwipo having recalled, he is actually going to be making a path all the way down to that Grum where the ward was earlier. Now, moving forward though, TP once again has just come through from Nisqy, and with this TP, he's going to be getting priority in the mid lane. Now, up towards the top side of the map, what's that? Another TP to come through. Remember the pathing we already set you out up on towards the ward where Bwipo is, where the priority now has come through? This is where it's all going to come down together. The ward, the shadowing, the TPs from the mid lane towards the top side, the pressure coming in on towards this ward once again, the planning from Fnatic from 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the game to this point now, where they're going to go full aggression on towards Jankos, and he is now on towards this one. They don't have the man advantage on this one. They don't have the vision on this one. This has all been Fnatic's planned skirmish, and as the clip still rolls out while they're getting the kills, Bwipo, he might die here. It doesn't even matter, because they will have to invest so many resources of getting this kill. With Caps flashing over, with Wonder having to get away from this one, I'm going to stop it right once again, because not only did they get the Grom, not only did they get 2 kills, they also made sure Wonder and Caps lost waves and experience that they gained in return. And that is what makes Fnatic so scary to play against. It's the fact in the early game that they're already planning from 5 minutes ahead how they can attack you.
What a fantastic setup. I mean, listen, 2 of the best early game teams in the league. And as I'm joined by Ender and Gulborg, I'm going to pit their brains against one another to argue who will win this game. Ender, I'm going to come to you first and ask you to give me some information and predictions on who will come out on top in this fight for first.
Look, the thing is, Goldborg just did a fantastic breakdown on why Fnatic's early game is so great. So I have to go with Fnatic, right? Good job. You lose. If you're going to choose Rogue here, it's clearly Fnatic because of what you just said.
Now, turning to Goldborg, of course, let's talk a little bit about Rogue and their chances if Fnatic are the favorites. Fnatic are the team that inform, and I think a lot of fans are going to be getting behind Fnatic as well. How do Rogue stand up to them?
I mean, to be fair, that was Fnatic against G2. They're not that hot right now, right? So let's be real. Rogue, the real deal coming into this one. You may have some early priority against them, but we have Odoamne. We have the laning stats to facilitate this guy being up at 10 by 259 against his lane opponents, being up in the experience department by 93 as well. This guy does not lose lane, and he's getting limited resources as well.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Now, of course, we were going to play a little bit of a mini game, but in the interest of time, I wonder if we can get the stats up behind us just to highlight these two dominant teams, two of the best teams in the league. I know we're leaning towards Fnatic here for Ender, and as the stats pop up behind me, goal difference at 15, gigantic, 1.8, 2.3, kills at 15, deaths at 15. Ender, will the early game truly be the deciding factor today?
No, I don't think it will, and it almost never is, especially in Fnatic games, right? Like, most of Fnatic's wins, like, yes, they have fantastic early games, but a lot of it comes down to the team fighting. I think they're the best team fighting team in the LEC currently, and Rogue, while they're no slouches in the team fights, you look at their wins, a lot of it comes through snowballing off of their huge early game success and carrying that over. You look at last year's finals, and you saw a big gap in Rogue's playstyle was the fact that they fell down to Mad Lions in that best of 5 when it came down to the fights, and that's where I think Fnatic have the edge right now. That's where Rogue need to advance if they want to be #1 by the time the season is done. So for me, it's Fnatic today.
Well, Fnatic today. Will Fnatic come out on top and be in sole control of pole? It's time to find out as Fnatic take on Rogue. Let's hit the rift.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final game of the day between Rogue and Fnatic. My name is Vedius, I'm joined with Medic, and we are in for a banger as these two teams fight for the first place position. But before we get to that, we have to give a big congratulations to the man in the top lane for Rogue, Odoamne. This is his 400th LEC game.
And he looks just as happy now as he did when he first came on the stage all those years ago. Of course, a very storied player, but never picking up an LEC title, something that still eludes him that he got close to last time in spring. And now he looks to fight for first in the regular season and make a deep run at playoffs once again. We are going to go get on into the draft of Fnatic versus Rogue. The fight for pole, as Quickshot called it. Sole control of pole, I believe, is what he said. Because of course he does love his rhyming.
Right, just like any play-by-play, I feel.
Some of us are more like big punchy moments, some of us are more rhymey.
One day you'll get to rhyme soliloquy, I'm sure.
That's the hope, right?
That's the hope.
Somnolence, I believe, is the word you're thinking of. Anyway.
No, I was thinking of soliloquy.
It's a good word.
It's a great word. I don't know what it means, but it's a great word.
It's a monologue used in classical theatre, usually said to the audience, but ahead of the other actors. So it was you would have a long monologue to the audience, it would be your soliloquy. Anyway, Fnatic versus Rogue, the biggest game perhaps of the weekend, as we see Draven and Lucian banned away here by Fnatic. Draven, obviously a very common ban against Hunt Summer. There's the Thresh removed by Rogue. And my question really is, Vedius, are we going to see XinZhao or Irelia get through this ban phase?
Seems like one of them has a good chance of getting through. The fact that we're seeing a blind Kalista ban, I wonder what that suggests. Perhaps an AD carry that Rogue has in mind that they consider problematic. Perhaps a support pick that they're thinking about that they want to try and grab early that they don't want to have to deal with. Many potential options. Not something that we normally see. Perhaps it's just a respect ban towards Hylissang. Either way, what else is Fnatic going to take off the board? Because Gwen still up and available, which has now been removed. Viego still up and available. We still have the XinZhao. We still have the Irelia. We know that Nisqy did play mid lane last week against G2.
Kalista still on the cards as well. Both these AD carries love that pick. Varus still on the cards. As we have a lot of strong picks left available here. As you can see, Rogue taking their time. Ready, 1, 2, 2, having a little bit of a think about this final ban, because of course, you want to give yourself some options. Olaf will be taken away from Adam, one of his signature picks in the top lane, and then of course Viego, the immediate lock-in here for Fnatic. Usually that goes to Bwipo. Only one time we've seen Adam take it to the top lane.
Yep, but that is, as you rightly called, going to be the trade for the Kalista, and the XinZhao is immediately going to be paired up alongside it. So Rogue already getting themselves a strong early game draft, very catered towards the bot side of the map. We expect Odo to be playing more of the weak side, but unsurprisingly, Fnatic are going to answer with a Tristana. Upset's common response to these hyper-aggressive AD carries, the support matchup is going to dictate a lot. Now, I imagine that they're going to get themselves an early Nautilus here, as it is such a strong 2 versus 2, and then you can ban out and remove, excuse me, some of these strong support answers, but perhaps they want to get themselves a strong mid first, and they will. Larssen's TwistedFate. He earned a bit of a name for himself on this champion. He had an incredible performance on it last split, to the point in which teams had to ban it permanently against him because of how confident he was. It seems to me that he has not actually lost a game in
undefeated.
the LEC.
4 games, 4 wins on the TwistedFate.
Undefeated. I believe that is just in the LEC, right?
Yes. Actually, no, wait. Across his entire career that I have the stats for, he is 4-0.
Okay.
On the TwistedFate.
Well, there you go. Still, pretty small sample size, but when we just think about his career, it is a pretty impressive one. A lot of respect shown to that, so he's going to be locking that one in into Nisqy's Sylas, assuming that is in mid lane. Of course, it can still be flexed to top, but typically we see him on the mid lane as Sylas, with Bwipo normally handling the jungle Viego.
Poppy banned away here by Fnatic. We saw Mickey bring that out a couple of weeks ago. Of course, very good into Viego, Sylas, and Tristana, all of whom have dashes. And it makes me wonder a little bit about the support pick for Fnatic as well. You can stop things like the Rakan pretty effectively with a Poppy, and with Leona being banned away, we'd go down to Nautilus, perhaps Rakan, maybe the Taric as well, although neither of these compositions really set up for the all-out dive that a Taric works so well into.
True. Very, very true. The Nautilus is now going to be banned away from Fnatic, so what supports will we now be looking at? That is 6 support bans, if I count that correctly, Medic.
Okay, so I think Trimby has the option of Nautilus or Galio here.
Nautilus is now banned.
Oh, of Galio then. Galio is so good alongside the Kalista. Alongside that, you could go for something like the Rel that we haven't seen in a while, but still has that great AoE, and if you chuck her in with the Fate's Call, it can work well. But instead, the Rakan is going to be picked here, and I wonder if that was more because they thought Hylissang wanted the Rakan himself, rather than it was the best pick for this composition.
Well, we're going to find out when the answer comes through for Fnatic, because the support pool has been heavily limited. Hylissang's playmaking potential has definitely been limited. Will the bot lane be able to get the aggression that they are often so famed for? I imagine this is Adam's. Sett, of course, could be in the bot lane, but we know that Adam is an aggressive top lane player. He likes to play champions that are typically lane dominant, and Sett definitely fits into that category. When I kind of look at their composition right now, Fnatic have pretty good scaling. Sylas and Tristana, both huge late game threats alongside the Viego as well. They're engaged, not the strongest. Morgana. Oh, okay, I'm a fan of this. I like this. Often we would see things like Morgana and Lux into the Rakan because he would move in straight lines. And so landing the bindings, especially if you're fast enough, usually at the pro level they are, you can actually respond. And then the Black Shield also mitigates his core form of CC, and he's not going to be able to break it that easily. So I think the Morgana pick is a very powerful one here. So we'll see how it works out. Pretty dominant bot side of the map for Fnatic, and an important one, especially when Rogue want to try and play through bots. They've decided to round out with a Camille in the top lane, try and get that more scaling top side, strong late game side lane threat. But Rogue, they're going for much more of a 1-3-1 style, similar to what we saw from G2 last game. Want to try and unlock this TwistedFate on the map, try and make him roam towards sides. Fnatic, slightly stronger team fighting. They're engaged, not the strongest, but we know how happy Hylissang is willing to be when it comes to flashing into fights. And of course, when champions like the XinZhao want to dive in, what can Adam do? Grab him, bring him straight back into the team, and then all of a sudden you find yourself a good fight. So yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting game. I'm expecting a lot of bloodshed in the early game. I think Rogue need to be hyper proactive in the early game. But I do like the answers that Fnatic have drafted themselves. I think this Morgana pick could be very difficult to play against for Rogue. We'll see how well they'll be able to get those advantages towards the bot side of the map and how volatile will top lane be. We know Adam loves to fight. We know that Adam is in a matchup where he can actually be hyper-aggressive early, but we also know that Odoamne is used to playing more on that weak side, kind of scaling up towards the late game, being a much bigger factor later on into the game. A lot of things to keep track of. It's going to be a great game to round out the day on. The battle for first is definitely going to be a good one.
Fnatic versus Rogue. Two teams fighting for first here, and we'll see who can lay their hands on sole possession of that spot. And on to summoners if we go. Nisqy, Upset, and Hylissang setting up a little bit of a trio here. Getting that ward in the bush can help you out a lot early on. Hylissang's going to go back, get himself an Oracles to try and clear out any vision that Rogue may have put down early on in this game. But before we get on into the action, before we really get into the depths of this game, I want to ask you all a question at home. It's a pretty easy one, I'll be honest. Who will claim first in LEC Summer 2021? Now, what I want to know is who's going to win this game, pretty much, because, of course, it's a battle. Both these teams tied first right now. You can spam FNC if you think Fnatic will get it, or RGE for Rogue in the chat right now.
I think a lot of people have a lot of faith in this Fnatic squad right now. They believe that this Fnatic is hyper-aggressive. They're a really strong team-fighting team. And part of me feels that Rogue is being undersold a little bit. I think that Rogue are being underestimated in what they're capable of. Now, Nisqy has spent a lot of time in bot lane looking for a pick. This is a huge time investment, and Larssen is just confused right now. This is so much farm that Nisqy's losing, and he's not going to get anything for it. That is an entire... Well, I mean, he hasn't lost any CS just yet.
He's lost one minion.
He's lost one.
He's going to lose... He'll get the XP for this second one, but I think he loses the minion itself. Does he lose that third one as well? Hylissang jumped on here as Hans Summer looks for the damage as well. Ignite ticking on Hylissang. That Bend is going to do a lot of work. Hylissang takes down! And Nisqy spends time in the bottom lane, gets nothing, and immediately when he leaves, Hylissang dies!
And so we come back to the conversation of, is Rogue being a little underestimated right now? This bot lane currently holds the record for 2v2 kills in the LEC, and they've been a little quiet over the last few weeks, but just like that, they kill Upset and Hylissang. Well, they kill Hylissang specifically at level 1. Beautiful stuff from the Rogue bot lane, and they already find themselves with a 700 gold lead.
Huge advantage here for Hans Summer and Trimby. You can see Upset 10 CS down. There's about 6 pushing in towards his tower here, but Bwipo has been tracked through his early jungle as well, and Inspired is on the way. Larssen, easy for him to move first from the mid lane here. Bwipo doesn't know, Bwipo doesn't know. Pepe laugh, Bwipo's been caught out by Inspired. He's gonna have to try and jump across this wall. Lands the stun, lands the knockup. Both of them have smite. Bwipo doesn't! Inspired has the smite, and Bwipo did not have his off cooldown. Inspired wins the 1v1 in the jungle.
I'm surprised that Bwipo just chose to take that fight. I guess he assumed that Inspire would just flash after him, and with the prio that Rogue had in both mid and bot, he was gonna lose his life anyway. But that's huge for Rogue. They use the early kill in bot, they use the early prio that they have in mid to then invade. Remember that ward that they set up early on, getting information on where Bwipo started. It all comes back to that. Information, prio, this is what Inspired does so well, and Rogue find themselves with 2-0. 1.2k is the gold lead right now, and Fnatic are being routed 3.5 minutes in.
You can see who will claim first at the moment. Fnatic fans, Fnatic faithful out in force, but Rogue, well, they're routing Fnatic right now. 1,400 gold lead. Bwipo will be able to take himself a Scuttle Crab. Nisqy trading in the mid lane right now, but for the moment, perhaps those fans have a little bit more faith than expected. Because Rogue have started off this game incredibly well. Let's have a look at where we are across the board. Vedius, Larssen with a 10 CS lead down in the bottom lane. Hans Summer will be able to catch this wave as it gets towards the tower, but he's only about 5 or 6 CS ahead.
He's been spotted. Bwipo still has the flash. He knows
Odo.
The collapse is coming, but Odo, no information there because of the shroud coming out from Bwipo. But of course, because Inspired hadn't cleared his top side, Bwipo very cleverly went straight towards the top, secured the Scuttle Crab, and then invaded the Raptors, knowing that Inspired would do Raptors into reset. So really good awareness there of recognizing the amount of time that he would have to steal those camps. Decides to try and go for a quick play in top lane, but does of course get spotted out by that ward. So Inspired will now do his full clip top. Binding lands.
Dead here. Upset jumps in. Explosive shot's going to do a lot of damage. Trimpy has been ignited. Hansama able to force Upset and Hylissang away. The escapability of a Rakan there, meaning that Trimby was able to survive even with the Ignite ticking on his head.
Now what's interesting is often you'll see things like Cleanse being ran against, Exhaust being run into Tristana lanes, because especially when you want to fight her early, she has so much burst with Hail of Blades, plus the Explosive Bomb, plus the Ignite that you usually see in lane as well. But the fact that Trimby and Hansama are running the Ignite heal, a little bit more of an aggressive lane, you can see this potential burst now. Not going to overcommit because they know that Trimby's on the flank. But what's great for Trimby is if he takes that burst, he can very
TP. Adam has TP. Odoamne had to use it to get towards that top lane heal coming out. Trimby will still have the battle dance here. Should be able to dodge the Hansama, uses the grand entrance to try and get in. Dodges away, takes the route as well. Adam will not quite fall to the end, but dies to the Ignite instead. 1-for-1 trade now, and Inspired is on the flank. Do we have the Black Shield? Upset has his jump TP coming in from Nisqy. Once again, Fnatic investing a lot into this bottom lane.
Yeah, they certainly are. That is 2 TPs now thrown towards bot, and you know that Hansama is typing in all chat, are you serious? Guys, there's more than one lane here, and you need to back off because they're just gaining advantages across the board. Odoamne just hit 6. He's now going to get a level up. The fact that Adam died, used his flash and his TP. Yeah, the flash was good, but if Trimby hadn't actually used his second battle dance, he probably would have gotten out alive. The fact that he actually put himself in the way of the black, not the black shield, the dark binding rather, is what cost him his life. Now here we see the TP in. Rogue realized that they're a little overextended here. The TP flank comes through from Fnatic. They're trying to get this bot lane ahead and actually trying to shut Rogue's bot lane down. Trimby goes for the knock-up, the flash in front to try and provide the CC. And then you can see here Trimby dashes back. But then good damage from Hansama. He does not slow down. He recognizes there's a window. He takes a tower shot too. And then when the moment Inspired shows up, the TP then follow up through from Hansama.
And because of that TP to the mid lane, from Nisqy.
TPs! So many!
Because of that TP though, you could see Larssen was able to get a wave pushed in the mid lane, got himself a plate. Rogue now 1,700 gold ahead and very much in the advantage of this game. And it kind of compares and contrasts what Fnatic like to do in the early game and what Rogue likes to do in the early game. Because this is probably our first and second team in terms of how much of an advantage they managed to get. Rogue get a little bit more gold advantage, but Fnatic are still able to get themselves leads in the early game. However, they do it through getting kills, and Rogue do it through getting more CS than their opponents.
They're just very strong, reliable laners that often draft strong lanes, as we see the collapse from the bot lane onto Bwipo.
Oh, Blast Cone popped as well. Larssen there coming in. The chase is on as Nisqy will be able to kill off Hansama. Trimby is able to escape now. Larssen is in a bit of a 1v3 here, but Upset's already used his jump, and I don't know if he got the reset. Larssen pops the gold card. Locks it down. Hylissang, the one they'll dive on. No level 6, no soul shackles available for the Morgana. And now Nisqy, you're on the wrong side of the rift, my friend. You're on the wrong side of dodge. 6 kills so far for Rogue, a double for Inspired. And Rogue are demolishing Fnatic.
Now, the reaction there from Fnatic was good. The fact that Hansama had to flash out from that play just goes to show how strong this Viego champion can be. In a 2v1, he nearly actually kills Hansama. But the response from Larssen was good. You could see that the communication was clear. We want to collapse onto Bwipo here, and we want to get the punish. I think the idea from Bwipo here is good, but I think he shouldn't stay to clear out this ward. He gets collapsed on, and look at how quickly the TF ultimate comes through. Gets stolen by the Sylas, can then quickly follow up. Hans has to flash, but then Sylas is saying, you know what, I can flash follow as well, and I'll actually secure this kill. Good flash from Trimby, but now you realize Fnatic is way too overextended. Larssen is just buying time, waiting for Inspired to show up. And then they're able to get the collapse. Unfortunately for Hylissang, he can't land the binding, and it's easy kills for Rogue.
Small things there as well. Upset not getting the reset as he jumped in to try and get an auto attack on Hansama meant that he wasn't then able to jump immediately onto Larssen and try and really focus down the Rogue player. You can see Larssen, most gold in the game, Inspired following him, and Bwipo for the second game in a row is having a bit of a mare in the jungle here. 0-2-1 on the Viego. Last week against Jankos, we saw his Karthus really struggling, and here against Inspired, he's struggling as well.
But I think it's just a matter of, when you think about how teams play, okay, we made a big deal last year about how you can either play for your jungle or your jungler can play for you.
Sure.
And one of like G2 is a great example of a team that we talked about how like they were a team that typically played for their laners, right? Whereas Rogue is a team that played for their jungler. And what we mean by that is it's not like everything is just for Inspired. It's just that the way in which they get priority to then play around Inspired, to allow him to invade, to allow him to counter jungle, the way in which they ward for Inspired to help give him information. A lot of it is about making sure that he can make good, well-informed decisions. And this game, we've just seen it multiple times, right? The early invade onto Bwipo to get that punish, the fact that they had prio in lanes, the fact that they get that collapse onto Bwipo as well, he's just being punished. And once again now, you can see the response from Rogue, the Trimby roam as well, the collapse, Rogue have the numbers advantage. This doesn't look like a good fight for Fnatic.
Stun goes in, Adam on the front line, quickness coming out as well. He tries to use the showstopper, but he just can't kill off Inspired, and Trimby dives in now in a 4v2. Fnatic are going to have to try and run back to the fountain, but Nisqy's locked up. Hexagol Maiden will keep him in spot. 5th kill of the game for Inspired, and you said it best, Vedi. Rogue just so good at setting their jungler up for success. Now, Bwipo's in a good position here to try and trade onto Larssen, who was in the shop. Stopwatch, Goldcard's going to come out. Bwipo tried to dodge it with the Heartbreaker, but isn't going to be able to chase down Larssen any further.
Now, of course, the exchange of this means that Fnatic get themselves a lot of plates, and this may very well be worth it, but the fact that Fnatic lost 2 members off the back of that means that Inspired is only going to get so much stronger, 4.8k gold, and if Rogue want to, they can just bring this Herald right back to bot, secure all the plates that they lost, and be able to swing that gold so heavily into Hans Sommer's favor. And you can already see Rogue sitting already with a nearly 3k gold lead so early on into the game.
And look at where Inspired is immediately. Getting the flank here, getting down towards the bottom lane with the Rift Herald. Larssen also has the ultimate, can look for the Destiny and see if he can lock Fnatic underneath their tower. This last minion will be culled as Rogue now push in. Larssen still in the mid lane, but does have the TP. Inspired on the Krugs. It looks like Rogue are going to call off this one right now. They do have both the TPs available, but they also know that Adam has forced Odoamne underneath his tower. They know they haven't cleared out all this vision. They know that Fnatic are playing on the back foot, and so they can force them away without having to look for an aggressive dive.
There was a small window there where Adam's TP was still down, and I thought that maybe Rogue could force it, but the minion wave wasn't great for Rogue in the bot lane, so they decided not to overcommit. Larssen trading very aggressively onto Nisqy, having completed his first item already, and she's coming out ahead in the health.
They don't know Inspired.
Oh my god, there's no way Inspired read this play.
They don't know Inspired here. He knew the Scuttle Crab was available on the top side. He knew that Bwipo would want to go for it, and now he's in the perfect spot. Inspired just reads them. Crescent Guard's going to knock back Nisqy. Larssen so low, but Inspired!
How are you this smart, man? What the
so flipping good.
He's just, his brain is too big, man.
It was pure Splinter Cell shit as he went behind.
Oh my word. All right, when we get the replay of that, I'll bring up the mini-map. We can like highlight all the cool stuff. They're also going to break down the mid-tier 1. Oh my word. Rogue are just obliterating Fnatic. And the way they got that, like, a small early advantage, which they so quickly snowballed, and a lot of this started off the bot lane as well. So I'm going to bring up the mini-map here just to highlight how smart it was, because as you highlighted, the replay, we didn't go back as early as I was expecting, but like when he was down here getting this information, he knew that this Scuttle Crab was up, and he just had a hunch. He's probably not assuming that Bwipo is there, but he's just playing under the assumption that that could be a possibility. He has the Herald, he's covering for Larssen, and he's just there to like make sure that everything's okay, and then lo and behold, his expectation was correct. He's able to punish Bwipo, and this is what, the 3rd time now we've seen this game, where like I don't even think Bwipo is making bad decisions. Inspired is just one level ahead of him.
And of course, we're going to praise Inspired a lot in this game. He's 7-0-0. He has had the absolute read on Bwipo and the absolute read on Fnatic for the entirety of the game. But the rest of his team is playing so well to set him up as well in these positions. Like Rogue just, as a team here, are so coordinated.
And this is also why at the mid-split, we brought up Hans Sommer, right, as one of the MVP conversationalists, because they got that 2v2 kill in the bot lane, right? And how many times have we seen that from Hans Sommer? How many times have we seen this split, this bot lane just crushing their opposition, which then with that prio, Inspired immediately knows what to do. It's just, it's a huge team effort, and the fact that we see Inspired shine so much is by and large because of how reliable and consistent these Rogue players are.
Of course, for Fnatic, it is a difficult road back in this game. 5,000 gold behind, but their season has been exemplary, especially when you consider Bwipo role swap to jungle. Adam, a rookie, came into the top lane, and at the moment he is beating a player on his 400th game. Destiny is going to come out, and in a 2v1, I'm afraid Adam does lose these, but he tried as much as he could to take down Odoamne in a true pugilist duel.
Odoamne, I think, mainly committed to that trade because he knew that the collapse was coming through.
Sure.
I mean, Adam did everything that he could. You know, I think he came very close to securing that kill. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't quite enough, and he ends up losing his life. The exchange is, of course, a Drake, which goes into the back pocket of Fnatic. They also get themselves that bot tier 1. So overall, an exchange of objectives, and Rogue aren't even going to be able to commit to this tower as Nisqy is now going to TP up towards top. Does Inspire look for something? No, because Larssen wants to go back to base, spend some of the money that he now has in his back pocket. So we reached the 15-minute mark. A lot of the objectives are now unavailable. Both teams are going to be looking to cross-map and start playing towards these outer towers. As I say that, Inspired has his eyes on the mid laner for Fnatic. He has no flash, and now he's not going to have a life left.
Well, he does have the Crescent Guard, but that doesn't really do too much against the man who controls it. 8-0-0. Inspired is having probably one of the best individual performances we have seen this summer from anyone on any team in the LEC. Odoamne, those old hands, those old reflexes, going a little bit wide with a hook shot as he will be locked up underneath his own tower and cannot walk away. Upset gets the kill. Perhaps Fnatic can find some damage on this mid lane tower.
Bit of a blunder there from Odoamne, and Fnatic will get their 3rd kill of the game. Now the dive.
Immortal Shield Bow available on Hansama. He's going to use the heal as well, and Trimby's on his way with the quickness. Hylissang with the Soul Shackles, but Inspired is not locked up in that, and Hylissang will sacrifice himself for Bwipo's life. Larssen was able to get a tower in the top lane while all of this was happening. Hansama didn't even have the Immortal Shield Bow procced there. Inspired still on the chase, perhaps looking to steal away these Razor Beaks.
Fnatic, they taketh and then they giveth away. They get themselves a very quick kill, and then they immediately hand it over as they try to dive Hansama. Yes, they do get all of his summoner spells out, but the debate was, is that trade really worth it, as Rogue now set their eyes on the tier 2. And I just very quickly want to mention, yes, we give a lot of praise to the bot lane, we give a lot of praise to Inspired. We have to talk about Larssen, because when we contrast his first half of the split to the second half, the amount of change that this individual has made has been dramatic. Remember, we were quite critical of him in the first half of the split. His Akali performance game specifically, I think, stood out in a lot of people's minds. Like, when you look at his CS, you know him as, like, the lane god, the guy that never falls behind. But the CS advantages he was finding was not that dominant. But in the second half, he has really leveled up and has kind of returned to the Larssen that we come to expect.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me as well is his deaths per game. He was getting caught out in the early game over and over and over in the first half of the season. You can see he's taken a whole death less per game in the second half of Summer here. Just so much more consistent, and that's what he has always been for Rogue. He can pop off, he can have stellar performances, but a lot of the time he's just the guy that you look to be able to get to the late game ahead and then hit those 3-4 items on a mage.
And a really impressive TwistedFate performance. You can see why so many players last split respected it. His 4-0 record is nothing to scoff at, and he's looking to make that 5-0. He may very well be collapsed on here. Going to force to use the heal to disengage with that, but not going to be too much sweat off of his back, as Inspired is going to secure himself the next Herald. Fnatic trying to contest, but there's very little they can do. Hansama, as he often is, sitting in the side lane for now, pushing out that wave. That's going to collapse into the tier 2, so no freezing will happen down there. And with the Drake spawning in about 1 minute and 45 seconds, that will likely be the next big objective, but I would be surprised if Fnatic feels confident enough to fight for that when Rogue is so far ahead.
Of course, as much as this is the battle for first overall, it's important even more so for Fnatic because they didn't pick up any they only picked up 20 championship points in spring, and champions points determine determine your seeding going around. Bwipo here trying to steal away this red, does manage to get it, has the Heartbreaker to jump over this wall if he so desires. Hylissang and Upset on their way as well. Bwipo will jump the wall. Trimby has flash, has quickness. That's the Destiny for a little bit of a shortcut for Trimby. Gold card was locked in for Larssen, but no chase really going to happen. Yeah, Destiny forward, you can battle dance too, and then you can quickness in. It's really smart,
it wasn't about him trying to land the gold card. Of course, he does have the rapid fire cannon. It was more about, as you rightly said, creating more distance for Trimby to look for a potential engage.
I just think it's always good when people play for their supports. Anything you like, what I want you to do is Trimby.
Flashed over, he's looking for Bwipo.
Bwipo's dead here.
I can see Trimby laughing on stage.
You don't need to hit your skills to support Trimby. It's fine. We've all been there, mate. You know, you flash forward and you stand still for a second like, oh. Okay, go ahead, moving on.
Oh, but here we are. Fnatic looking for a counterplay.
Nisqy has the quickness
What are the
stolen away.
instincts?
Trimby just got his
They
ward
don't
upgrade.
know.
There's the quickness looking for Hans Summer. The charm goes out. Black Shield used as well, but TP coming in immediately. The Mortal Shield Bow will keep Hans Summer alive for just a little bit longer.
Cancels?
TP was cancelled. That was the bot lane. Adam able to do something for his team as he stops Trimby getting reinforcements. Trimby under the tower trying to survive. The stopwatch will keep him alive for the moment, but Hylissang can tank this up, and Upset comes in with the buster shot for the kill. Adam died in the side lane, sacrificed himself for the good of the team.
Ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic, but they will lose a tier 1 bot lane, a tier 2 in mid lane, likely a tier 2 in bot lane as well. So sure, you get a couple kills back, but Rogue, they're going to take so much more off of your back. And Rogue likely going to get the third Drake of the game as well. I like that Fnatic's trying to be proactive, but it feels like that the game is just slipping further and further out of their control.
Yeah, it's very difficult for them to really do too much here. Their team, their composition very much determined by being able to find these picks, find these catches. With Rogue being so far ahead, it's very difficult to get yourself a good matchup. You can see the quickness Black Shield combination coming out, and of course the TP was cancelled.
Yes, it was. Adam here, able to get in range, uses the ultimate just at the very end of it as well. But Inspired was already pathing bot and was able to assist Odoamne in the kill. I'm not entirely sure at what point the matchup swings in this 1 versus 1, but I imagine that Odoamne can definitely hold his own, given that he's 2 levels ahead as well.
I'm going to say about the 1 and 4 matchup. 1 and 4 point is where it starts to swing in
That's
favor
the
of
thing
the
about Sett, just because he's true damage, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but this isn't the optimal set build. This isn't the mathematically correct set build that you see doing the 3,000 true damage on Reddit every day. TP's coming in here from Larssen as Rogue look to set up around the Baron. 20 minutes in, they can do it pretty easily with, of course, Kalista and a very fed XinZhao, but instead they will just decide to gain control around this area.
it's one of those things where, like, how fed is Xin? Really fed. Like, he's just come off a feast, and he's still hungry. 8-0-2 right now.
The big thing is, if Fnatic do manage to find a kill on him, that's 1,000 gold swing.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of total gold. And if you get that on someone like Upset, who is at 2 items, who is actually ahead of Hans Summer in terms of itemization, perhaps you have a way back. I say perhaps because right now it is looking bleak, and Rogue don't tend to lose positions, lose games from this sort of position. They are a very good mid-game team.
9.4k gold on Inspired right now.
Yep.
He has more money than both AD carries do. I mean, it's not that surprising. He does have 8 kills, but when the jungler has more money than the AD carries, that's scary.
Have you had a mosey at Larssen?
Oh, true, yeah. He has 3 items.
He's got 11,000 gold right now as Larssen, 200 CS at the 22-minute mark. Of course, TwistedFate's passive, helping him get some extra gold, and he's been given a lot of plates as well. He's in a very strong position right now. Here he goes, Larssen going in for the Destiny, straight onto Nisqy. Eats a Kingslayer, eats an Everfrost, but isn't rooted up. Trimby on the flank here, no flash, of course, on him. Odoamne and Adam trading on the bottom side of the map. Upset trying to do some damage, but the Guardian is propped on Trimby and Inspired. Nisqy going in with the quickness. Inspired trying to dive back in, but he's been charmed up straight away. There's the Crescent Guard. Upset can't do damage now as Nisqy forced to jump across the wall. Gold card locks in. Once again, they're looking for Bwipo. Hans Summer kills off Hylissang. Inspired down, though. It is Bwipo who takes it. And Bwipo looking for the resets here. Trimby posts the quickness, but Bwipo doesn't get over the wall. Bwipo fails to jump over the wall, and perhaps that's good for him, because perhaps he would have died. Gold card locked in. Hans Summer gets another. Bwipo dodges away from the Everfrost. The Spectral Maw coming out. Upset cannot get the auto attacks down. He flashes away from the gold card. But the chase is on. Upset nowhere to go. Double kill to Hans Summer.
Wow, Rogue are actually able to come out on top of that fight. It looked like one of the deciding moments where Fnatic could have actually swung the game back in their favor, especially after getting that huge shutdown onto Inspired. But great play from Larssen, patient play, and good use of the gold cards allows them to come out on top, and a small blunder from Bwipo as well. So let's have a deeper look at exactly what happens here. So the ultimate comes out onto the collapse onto Nisqy. A good stun onto exhaust. The TP then gets cancelled by Odoamne this time round, so he's able to get a little bit of revenge. And then the collapse comes through. They're looking for Nisqy, they're looking for the engage, but we don't have time because the Baron gets secured by Rogue.
The question is, where does Hans Summer go here? Nisqy with the chains. Hans Summer rooted up, shut down once again. 700 gold over to Nisqy. And look at how low everyone is here. Nisqy steals away the Crescent Guard once again. Odoamne has to flash away. Hylissang on the chase. Does he have flash? He does. He has the Soul Shackles as well, but that Blast Cone should get Odoamne to safety. Adam is pushing in the bottom lane. Should be able to get some damage down onto that tower. And Fnatic unable to find as much out of that play as they would have liked. Rogue still able to get away with 4 Barons alive. and with an 8,500 gold lead.
Yeah, Fnatic actually got a decent amount of gold at the back end of that because they stole a lot of jungle camps away. They pushed in that bot wave all the way into the tower. Rogue forced to overstay. You can see they only have a plus 180 gold advantage right now, and Fnatic is even going to get themselves a tower. Maybe look for a fight.
Hylissang flashes in. Oh, the binding just dodged to the side there. Odoamne looking for Hylissang here. It still has that shield. Soul Shackle's going out. Blast Cone popped. And Odoamne and Trimby will be able to escape. Odoamne, though, doesn't have flash. Has the hook shot. Has the wall dive. Bwipo goes in. They're looking for his spy before he can do anything, but the Crescent Guard will knock them back. Upset needs to get the damage down in this fight. Trimby going in with the charm. Upset still dodging to the side of it, but he's been charmed up in the end. And Bwipo's down, and Adam's down, and Fnatic have to run. Double for Larssen, Hylissang, and Upset. The only two left alive, and Odoamne's not having any of that. Gets the kill. And Rogue, 23 kills to 7, are finally putting the nails in this Fnatic coffin.
Absolute destruction from Rogue. The mid-jungle combo has been outstanding this game. The bot lane getting the better of Upset and Hylissang. Just from start to finish, it has been clean and well executed from Rogue. And now with the Baron buff, they're looking to end the game. Maybe a little overzealous here with the respawns coming through from Fnatic, and looks like Rogue is going to agree. Likely going to just get themselves the Drake and then be happy with that. But just an impressive performance, and it all comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. I feel like that Rogue have been undervalued a little bit. I think that they have been seen as, because they're not as aggressive as Fnatic, they're not getting as many early kills, that, you know, they were a little weaker. But I think that the important thing to remember about Rogue is they are surprisingly creative in a very clever way. When they get champions that they're comfortable on, they know how to execute them well. And the thing about this roster is it just has such reliable laners that are difficult to get the better of. And I think that they demonstrated that in this game today. Really setting us up for some very exciting games moving into playoffs, but Rogue looking quite convincingly right now as the best team in Europe.
I have to remember, last summer they were first, 13-5 in the regular season. In spring they went 14-4, tied first with G2. Oh, actually, they got second place because of the head-to-head, but still, they are a very consistent team, and although they failed to pick up the win against Mad Lions in the finals, they are still one of the best teams in Europe, looking to show that they are the best right now as they take down Fnatic. Nisqy already killed off, Showstopper going in from Adam, but the Destiny behind him. Trimby tries to dive onto Bwipo, Hylissang, and Upset, and they can't even kill the support. Adam trading with Odoamne. Odoamne should be able to win that one out. Hunt Summer goes on a killing spree. Larssen's still alive.
Oh my
Adam
words.
running away. The fate's call. You're going to chase him, Trimby? Not onto the fountain. Adam doing some push-ups, sit-ups. That's the one. It's been a while since I went to the gym. Odoamne trading against him as they clear out the minion wave. And Rogue look to close out this game. It feels like it's been done for a while. Rogue had a 5,000 gold lead at 15 minutes, and with this win, they claim sole possession of pole.
Larssen deathless on his TwistedFate. Inspired, the biggest brain jungler I've ever seen. Excellent performance from Rogue, and that felt like a statement game.
Did you see Bwipo's face there? He's like, yep, yeah, that happened. Yeah. I got out juggled.
Yeah, I mean, Bwipo struggled against Jankos last week, but his team was able to come around. He was still able to have impact in the late game fights on the Karthus. This time around, Fnatic found no way back. There was no way to control that game. And Rogue just looked clean from start to finish. From the 2v2 kill in bot lane, from the good ultimates from Larssen, from the intelligent pathing and play from Inspired, to Odoamne being there. Like, the whole team just came together and did everything that they needed to do.
Does mean that Fnatic fall down to tied with Misfits in second place at 10-5. And importantly for them as well, they're 0-1 against Misfits in that head-to-head. If they lose their next match and tie with Misfits at the end, they only get third place. And that means they'd only get 70 championship points, which means together they'd only have 90, which could quite easily push them out of the top 4. We did say in the game, it's very important for Fnatic to get a high seed because of how poorly they did in spring. We'll see if they can manage to pick up some wins over the course of their next 4 games. Your key player of the game votes on a happier note, though, at LEC on Twitter. Inspired, Larssen, and Trimby are your options. We know you're giving it to one of them.
I mean, Inspired or Larssen, I think, you know.
Why is there an or Larssen? Larssen had a good game, sure. Inspired Smurf. That was like watching me in my solo queue games. That's how good he was, Vedi.
Okay, well,
Such a
we'll
Smurf
soon hear
performance.
from the veteran Odoamne before Trimby and Hans join us in the LEC post-game lobby. So don't you go anywhere. More great LEC content coming your way.
Systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Welcome back to the LEC as Rogue is on top of the LEC once again as they take down Fnatic in an absolute showcase. Inspired, thank you so much for joining me. That was an extremely dominating performance. What went well today? How are you feeling?
I feel great, especially being in Inspired skin. I guess now I'm inspired and I'm not myself anymore. But
I mean, it was great. Draft on 12, we kind of got what we wanted. Yeah, I mean, I think bot lane got a solo bolo at level 1, and then Inspire just kills him level 2 at red buff invade. So I think after that, it was just kind of smooth sailing, and we just have to control the excitement, I guess, because when we get so ahead, we kind of want to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. So we just had to not end and just wait for them to kind of keep going with the end.
And with this performance, Inspired has won Key Player of the Game. Can you tell me how, not only in this game, but throughout the split, Rogue has been playing through Inspired, and that has been shaping Rogue's playstyle so far?
I mean, it's great. Just from the beginning, I felt like he was a big voice. He always had a good plan about what he wants to do, even though at least in spring, there was this thing where he just full clearing into full clearing into full clearing. I feel like we make really good usage of his jungle timings whenever he's not on his camps. I feel like every lane has a plan set up for him, or he comes up with a plan, and he tracks him, enemy jungle camp respawns very well. So I feel like every single time when he's off of his camps, there's a play to be made, and we just make very good usage of his time.
And in a recent interview, Inspired went to say that he references a lot of the LPL and LCK games, which did go viral in various communities. Is it an initiative that you personally or the rest of the Rogue also share, like referencing the Eastern League games?
I wouldn't say that I necessarily think that Eastern League of Legends is kind of the way to go, or yeah, just like the proper way to play the game. It's just his own philosophy, because from what I know, ever since he went to Worlds, whenever you get exposed to like that sort of scrim culture where you're screaming only top teams from every region, you kind of start picking up a lot of things. And I think it all started from there, because even his solo queue name is SOFM Junior. So he's like the biggest SOFM fanboy and stuff like this. So I guess, yeah, when you go to Worlds and you scrim very good Chinese and Korean teams and you get smashed a bit, you kind of start to realize that your meta is maybe not so good, because in LEC or like even in NA LCS, there's like the bottom teams are significantly weaker than the top LEC or NA LCS teams. While I feel like in LPL there's a lot more competition. It's just that every team is so good that someone has to be last place, you know, not like in LEC.
I guess my reason for the question was in the line of thinking that we are closing off in the playoffs, and people are starting to ask about, hey, Worlds, who's going to Worlds? Which region looks the best for Worlds? And my question would be, what do you think about the relative gap between the LEC and possibly LPL and the LCK?
I wouldn't say there's like such a big gap. I mean, obviously I haven't been to Worlds for quite some time, so it's just maybe my biased opinion. But I just think historically LEC has, yeah, maybe been a bit weaker than LPL or LCK at times, but I feel like we're very competitive, and it's just kind of a matter of meta, what patch hits on the Worlds patch, because yeah, I mean, if we hit a good patch, then I think the whole region as a whole can be very competitive going into Worlds.
And we do look forward to Worlds, but first there is the LEC, and this time you have taken down Fnatic. Medline and G2 still trying to catch up. Is it finally Rogue's time to win the LEC? Do you feel it in your bones?
I mean, in spring, I also felt like it was Rogue's time to win LEC, but it didn't happen. But at the same time, I felt like it was a really good loss for us. I feel like it made us a lot stronger. We were kind of getting ahead of ourselves in spring, I would say, with how good we were playing, and yeah, we were kind of maybe just taking it for granted, you know. So getting your ass kicked like that is kind of good for kind of putting you back into place. But yeah, I feel like if we close out the week good against Mad Lions and we keep up the same trend that we have with like the same scrim culture going into playoffs, I feel like we can win it. Well, not again, but win it this time.
And we will look forward to it. Best of luck for the rest of the LEC and your possible run for Worlds.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And after the break, we'll be back with post-game lobby with Quick Shot with the guests Hans Sama and Trimby, so please don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.